Okay, so sit however's comfortable, and we need strap hanging on the side of that. So remember to leave your straps and anything you use here so I can wash them. And at home, if you have a strap or a belt handy, please get it and have it for later in class. I think you're a little crooked, but my tripod's kind of broken, so we're gonna go with this. So sit however's comfortable, on a blanket if you want to, in a chair, of course. I'm gonna sit on the floor today, but you can start sitting in a chair if that's better for your hips, so that you can really be comfortable. I see somebody is out there, so let me know if there's any trouble hearing. Well, or maybe let me know if you can hear me, right? So close your eyes and let yourself shift around just a little bit. So you just kind of sway a little bit side to side, maybe even front to back if that feels good. So you center yourself out there between your sitting bones. And then as you lengthen up through the top of your head, bring your hands to a comfortable place for your shoulders. You can kind of slide them up and down your thighs a little bit till it feels really good. Relaxing to lengthen up. And start to be with your breath now. Watching your breaths coming in and going out through your nose. See if you can. Imagine you're breathing equally in and out through both sides of your nose. And allow your breath to come in to expand the belly as you inhale. Maybe even coming up into those three-part breaths, inhaling into your belly, into your ribs, and then all the way up into your chest. And letting our hands come on out beside us here now, lightly touching the floor. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. Now once the arms get up overhead, see if you can clasp your hands together. Send your pointer finger up. Bend your elbows a little bit. So let yourself just hug the elbows a little bit inward. Just wake up the shoulders a little bit here. And then come into a little bit straighter arms. See if you can lean over to the left, coming into a side stretch here for the right side. Breathing into that side you're stretching. And then come on back up to the top and we'll go over the other way. So letting yourself breathe into the left side here. And then come on back up to the top. Let your elbows bend again. Let your hands come down even farther if you can. Kind of imagine reaching upward with your elbows. And then lengthen those arms up long again. Release your hands. Circle your arms behind you a little bit. And then let the hands come on down, either fingertips to the floor or just releasing your arms out beside you. Inhaling here. And on the exhale, let's twist to our left. Bring your right hand around towards your left knee. Lengthen up through the top of your head. Feel the sense of your chin parallel to the floor here. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around through center and go all the way into the other direction. So waking up the spine here now, that twist in the middle of the back. Good. One more inhale. And then on your exhale, let yourself come on back around into center. And all the way again now, arms overhead. Inhaling the arms all the way out and up. This time, exhale the hands right down through the midline to be in front of your chest, in front of your heart. And then clasp your hands again. This time, send your palms forward so that you press, excuse me, into the heels of your hands. Try not to roll forward with your shoulders, Almost imagine your chest coming forward. One more breath here. And then bring your hands in towards your chest. And now flip your hands the other way so the palms face in. You've interlaced your fingers. Imagine you're drawing your elbows away from each other and you're kind of squeezing your fingers together. And then when you inhale, let your right elbow come up a little bit, your left elbow go down. And then as you exhale, just switch. So on the inhale, the right elbow rises up a little bit, the left elbow goes down. And then as you exhale, release to the other side. And then one more time, inhaling, right elbow up, and exhale, left elbow comes out. And then release, come on back to center, undo your hands, shake them out, circle a little bit through your hands. If you're cross-legged on the floor, switch the cross of your legs. So if you need to stretch your legs out a little bit in between sides, do. And then come on back into center, letting the arms come on out beside you again. And let's inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And now just come a little bit forward. Bring your hands to wherever feels good for you, into a little bit of a forward bend. So you're welcome. In your chair, you can separate your legs, bring your hands down further. You can put your elbows above your knees. On the floor, if you want to walk further out, if it's fine for you to come into allowing the head to hang, rounding a little bit there in the upper back, do. But be comfortable. Don't do anything that's uncomfortable for your back. And let yourself breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. Following your breath all the way in and out. Good. One more breath. And then we'll walk ourselves on back up, letting your hands come on out onto the floor beside you here now. And then bring your hands behind you. So if you're in your chair, you can drape your arms over the back of the chair. If you're on the floor, you can come onto fingertips or go flat to your hands. Let your chest come forward, draw your shoulders back, and look wherever feels good for your neck. You may want to look forward, or you might want to look up a little bit or a lot. And then we'll come on back up and lower our chin down now towards our chest. Let yourself release your head forward. And then just slowly let your chin move a little bit side to side. Turn your head just a little. Find release there for your own neck. If you need to stay and kind of hang in a place where you feel like a really good release, maybe in your upper back or maybe in your neck. Good, and then come on back up. Let yourself release all the way on back up. And let's bring our legs forward and just move through our feet a little bit. So if you're in your chair, you can lift your feet up just a little bit and circle through your feet. Now, if you'd rather go the same direction, do. Or maybe it feels good to go opposite. It depends on you. But if you can, really isolate your feet and your ankles. So try not to let your legs flip-flop around like that, right? Your legs are staying the way they are, and it's really you're isolating feet and ankles moving. And reverse if you haven't already. Let yourself go the other way. Good. And then shake out a little bit as we come on around towards our hands and knees. You decide if you want to be on your knees or if you would rather have yourself hands up on the seat of the chair or a blanket. Remember, if you'd rather have a blanket underneath your hands, sometimes that helps, wrists. Or come on to fists, right? Blanket underneath if it feels like too much on your knees too, on the floor. So take your time, shift around a little bit, get your hands really to that comfortable place for you underneath your shoulders. And then just let your head hang for a second. Look back behind yourself. And then come to a more neutral spine as you look down between your hands. Take a nice inhale here. And then as you exhale, draw up into your cat pose. Now see if you can stay in cat pose for a second. Press gently into the tops of your toes. Feel the belly engaging, the tailbone releasing down. Good. On your next inhale, send your tailbone back and up. Feel how your belly drops down, your ribs sink, your heart melts down. You can come to neutral or you can look forward if you want. Couple of breaths here in your neutral or your cow pose. And And then when you're ready, let your next exhale bring you back into that cat pose. And you can move at your own pace here now. You may want to continuously move with every breath, or you may want to stay in cat or cow for a couple of breaths. Wake up the spine. Good. So finish off the one you're on. And then we'll meet back in a more neutral spine here now. And now see if you can make little circles with your navel here. So as you inhale, the navel drops down. And as you start to draw to the side, you exhale, navel draws up towards the spine. Inhale when you head down the other side. So keep circling in the same direction. Waking up the belly and the low back a little bit more. And then we're going to switch directions with the circle. So you stop where you want to and then just reverse, going the other way. And it's okay, you can go really small with these, or you can go bigger if you shift a little bit side to side, knee to knee, hand to hand, that's okay. And then finish off so that you come right back with the navel coming down a little bit here. Find your neutral spine again. And we're going to bring our left foot forward and our right foot back to find lunge. So what you want to use under your hands is up to you. You can have blocks under your hands any height. You can have your hands up on the seat of the chair or down on the floor, right? So totally up to you. Take your time. And then get easy there about finding the length in the back of that right leg. Now if you can, you've got yourself supported a little bit with your hands. Lift your left heel a little bit up off the floor. That front heel is a little off the floor. Feel a little more there in your quad, your left quad, and then lower the heel back down. And we're going to switch legs. So bring that right foot forward, left foot back. See that alignment now of that front knee. Make sure you're not bending the knee any farther forward than your ankle. And imagine your right inner thigh dropping down towards the ground, but your left inner thigh reaching up towards the ceiling. And then float your right heel up just a little bit. Let yourself feel a little more engagement there in your quad. And then lower that heel on back down, and we're going to switch again. Take your time. If you feel like you want to lift up a little more here, you can bring your left hand or forearm to your thigh. And then we're going to switch again. And once you get that right foot forward again, if it feels good to kind of lift a little bit up with the torso, bring the right hand or forearm up, you can. Not necessary. And then we'll come on forward into standing forward bend. Feet, hips distance apart and parallel. Whatever kind of support helps your back, and you know that. Bend the knees if you need to. Let yourself feel your sitting bones over your heels. And then let the weight of your head just help kind of traction your spine out. Allow the head to be heavy. If it helps to nod your head a little bit or shake your head a little bit, do. And let go of the face here. Softening all around your mouth, all around your eyes. Let the breaths even out if you can. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips, bend our knees, and rise on up to standing. Inhaling our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, letting our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. So finding your mountain pose here, and take your time. Shift around a little bit if you need to, adjust, whatever you need to adjust, right? And then bring your gaze on forward. Actually, let's release our arms down beside us and float your arms like a breath away from you. And turn your palms forward. Spread your fingers wide. Reach down through the fingertips. So you're not forcing anything. Just turning the palms forward helps you find a little more openness in your chest. Just enjoy feeling equal between your feet. Imagine you're standing between two panes of glass. One in front of you, one behind you. Feeling very balanced and equal. Feel that tailbone dropping down. Remember, you don't want to feel your tailbone tucking forward. It's dropping down, reaching towards between your heels. And then on your next exhale, bend your elbows. Let your hands come softly to meet there right in front of your chest. Spread your fingers out a little bit. Feel that connection in the hands between each finger and your thumbs, your palms. And then we'll let our arms come on down beside us. And inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bend our knees, come on forward into that standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. Wherever you like your hands to go, your thighs, your shins, your blocks, your chair. And we'll step the right foot back to come into lunge. So draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Picture your whole body here in your lunge. Right? So it's about every part of your body, not just your legs. Let yourself feel that length all the way through the spine. One more inhale. And exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So it is up to you how high your hands need to be for your dog. Just how your shoulders need you to. Hands on the chair or on the blocks or on the floor. Feel your elbows gently, softly hugging towards each other. So you feel that bit of a hollowing sensation in your armpits really. And on your next inhale, come on out towards a plank. And you don't have to go all the way into plank. You can come down to forearms if you want to get out of your wrists. You can put your knees down. Engage your belly. Bend your elbows a little bit if you can. And then we'll come on back into down dog. Good. If you want to walk a little bit in your dog, go ahead. Let one knee at a time bend. Letting yourself find a little added extra relief for the backs of the legs. Good. And then come back to full dog. This time right foot comes forward to find lunge. And you can put your left knee down if you need to get into that lunge. And now again, picture your whole body in the lunge. Back of the head in line with your spine. So you're looking a little bit forward, but not straight forward, right? Still somewhat down. A couple of feet in front of you. And then we'll come on forward into standing forward bend. Take your time. Ease your way to where you want to be. If you like to put your hands lower or hold your elbows, do. And then see if you can lift all your toes up. Feel the four corners of your feet in the floor, arches lifting up. And then softly let the toes come down. Now try not to grip. Actually grip for a second, like your toes are cat claws, okay? So you press in and kind of draw them back for a second. And then lift the toes up again and find that sense of release that way. And this time when you let the toes come down, let them be gently down onto the floor. We'll bring our hands up to our hips, bend our knees and rise up. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Unfold your arms. Bring your hands behind you here now. Let your arms come longer so that hands slide down. You're not locking your elbows, but your arms are fairly straight. And then just tilt your head to the right ear towards your right shoulder. And then see if you can just turn to look up a little bit. Just a little bit. Don't force it. And then slowly rise back up to the top, head in line again. And then tilt your head left. Left ear towards the left shoulder. And then see if you can maybe just turn to look up a little bit. Don't force it. And then we'll rise on back up to the top. Take a nice inhale here. And on the exhale, bend your knees. Come parallel to the floor. Send your tailbone back. So you've made like a tabletop out of your back. You're about parallel as you can be. Tailbone's reaching back, top of the head's reaching forward. You really feel your legs. You're bending your knees, but you can feel your thighs. And then some of you on your next exhale may want to fold more over your legs. That's up to you. And whether your arms can come away from your back or not is up to you. We're going to release the arms on down and let your next inhale help you find that nice long back again. And this time left foot comes back into lunge. So take your time here now. Start to press the feet away from each other like you're trying to lengthen your mat. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Good. Inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Again, elbows hug in. Knees can be bent, remember, in dog, or you can have straighter legs. You can do a little bit of both. And on the next inhale, we'll come on out to plank. Whether you come out fully or not. Knees can go down to the mat. If you want to do a half plank, you can go to your forearms to do a forearm plank if your wrists bother you. Engage your belly. If you want to bend your elbows a little bit, come into some push-ups. Remember, imagine you're holding that beach ball between your elbows, even when you bend a little bit. And then we're going to make our way back into down dog. And this time, left foot will come forward to find our lunge, however you need to get there. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Get your feet hips distance apart, parallel. Let yourself release. Use support, of course, if you need for your back. Nice full breath. Start to focus here on those spaces between your breaths. See if you can really imagine when you inhale that little space. Imagine you're relaxing in that space before you exhale. And the same thing, after you exhale, you'll have that little space. See if you can imagine relaxing in that little space. Then we'll bring our hands on back up to our hips and bend our knees and rise on up. We're going to inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. We're going to unfold our arms. And tilt your head now right ear towards your right shoulder. And let your left hand trail its way up the left side of your body. It's still, you're kind of connecting right in front of your shoulder, maybe right by your ear. And then lengthen into a nice long arm coming into side stretch. So if it hurts your shoulder, don't do it. Right? You can always just leave the arm down. And then we'll rise up, lower that arm down. Now tilt your left ear towards your left shoulder. And again, once you're there, let your right hand just kind of trail its way. Fingertips just lightly touching the side of the body by your ear. Reaching into that long arm, coming into that standing side stretch. Feel your feet equal in the floor. One more breath. And then as you inhale, bring your left arm up so both arms are up overhead. Turn your pinkies towards each other if you want to look up too. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward into that standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that nice flat back. And we're going to walk into down dog from here, so you decide where you want your hands, what height. So whether it's the block's lowest, middle, highest height, remember blocks can be tippy, so be easy if you're using those blocks. Let yourself find length through your spine, as well as opening up the backs of your legs. And our next inhale will bring us out to a plank. Again, you can put knees down, you can come to your forearms, you can do a back bend as you choose. You can come down to the floor, do a sphinx on your forearms, or come through for an up dog or a cobra. And then we'll make our way back into down dog. Remember, these back bends are optional. Totally up to you. You can stay in plank if you'd rather. So let your next inhale bring you out towards that plank. If you do a back bend, it's totally up to you what kind. So if you're better off staying in your plank, do. And then we'll come on back to down dog again. Nice. Let's bring our left foot forward to find lunge here. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. So feet right underneath you, full breaths. If you're okay to hold your elbows, see if your hands can just drift to your elbows. Feel the weight of the torso. Feel your feet in the floor. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise up. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. So take your time, whether your eyes are opened or closed. Imagine you're looking out towards the horizon. Enjoy the connection there of your hands at your chest. And then your feet equally into the floor. Thighs gently engaging upward. And imagine that you're just being supported by the air all around you. That the space around you is supporting you in your mountain pose. And then we'll slowly unfold our arms on down beside us and shake out. Do whatever you need to do. Walk around if you need to. And we're going to come into warriors here. If you have a chair, maybe leave it turned this way. If you really need it for warrior one, you can turn it around, all right? Have your blocks handy, though, here, too, by the front of your mat. And we'll step towards the front of the mat so we can step our right foot back and come into warrior one, front-facing warrior. So if you can, bring your hands behind you. Now, you can hold hands or wrists back there, or you might even want to hold forearms or elbows. Get yourself, bend your front knee, look down. Make sure you're not sending that knee too far forward. It's not going out beyond your toes for sure. And then get that right foot really settled in there where you feel the arch lifting up. The heels turned in slightly. You're turned maybe 20, 30 degrees. And then bring your gaze on forward. Let yourself, just from the hands being back like this, feel that openness across the chest. Good. And then we'll unfold, release our arms beside us. And let's inhale the arms forward and up. Now you can go into a wider V if you want. Totally up to you. You can let your gaze come up or you can keep your gaze forward. Or you can keep your arms more directly over your shoulders, but hug your pinkies in towards each other. So you get that release at the top of the shoulders. Whether your arms are more forward or back by your ears, doesn't matter. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to bring our arms down. We're going to straighten our front knee out. Bring your hands onto your hips if you can. And we're going to start to square the hips off. If you need to adjust this back leg, do. So that when you start coming forward for pyramid, before you put your hands down, really feel your belly working. Feel your thighs lifting up towards your hips. So it's like you're creating space in your knees. And you don't have to go far, all right? You can go like an inch. You can decide you want to go more like parallel to the floor if you choose. And then, of course, when you're ready to put your hands down, you can use any height you want for your hands. So you can adjust your blocks to any height. You can have your hands on the seat of the chair. Once you get your hands down, if you want to adjust the length of this stance for pyramid, too. So it's optional to fold over that front leg. That's up to you. Just be with your breath. Let yourself enjoy opening up the backs of both your legs. Good. Now, we're going to come back more so our back is long, but we're going to bend the front knee and come back to warrior one, which is actually kind of hard. Use your core body. Bring your hands to your heart once you start to rise up. You got to really use the core to bring yourself on back up into your warrior one. Hands to your heart. Good. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to turn our feet more parallel for a wide-legged forward bend. So adjust the width of your stance. Grab your blocks if you want them. Bring yourself on forward. And then take your time. Bend a knee at a time once you get there. And if that bothers your knees, don't do it. And then come back to feeling equal between your legs, whether your knees are bent or straight, and walk your hands over towards the right, whether you just shift your blocks or walk your hands over all the way to your foot or your ankle. And then come on back through center, and again, maybe just a tiny bit to the left, or maybe you want to go all the way towards your foot. Good. And then we'll come on back into center again. Now here, see if you can walk your hands way out in front of you, even if they're on the blocks, like you're doing a down dog really. And allow your chest to melt down a little bit towards the ground. Knees can be bent, remember. And then we're going to come into being comfortable so we can be with our breath. So you may want to use your blocks, stack them up, put your forearms here underneath you to keep your back long. Or you may decide you want to put your elbows above your knees to support you. Or some of you may want to go ahead and fold all the way, crown of the head, just releasing down towards the floor and feel the weight of your head there. So watching your breaths now, all the way in, all the way out. See if you can feel the ribs expanding in all directions when you breathe in. And we're going to rise up. So use your hands to help you however you need. Bring your feet together first if you need to, closer. And then come on up and walk your feet on together. Move around a little bit if you need to. You know, stretch out your legs, your feet, your ankles. We're going to make our way for the other side. So again, you may want to have your chair turned the other way. You may be fine with the seat of it. We're going to come to the front of the mat, step our left foot back. Remember, this warrior one is front facing. Shoulders are square to the front of your mat. Bring your hands behind you. Again, whether you hold your elbows, your wrists, your hands, your forearms. Take a peek down at that right knee. Be really mindful of getting lined up there. And then bring your gaze forward. Let yourself enjoy that openness across your chest. Remember, in Warrior One, the tailbone is reaching back somewhat, right? You're not trying to tuck your tailbone forward. You're actually reaching back on a diagonal line with your tailbone. And then we'll unfold our arms beside us. We're going to inhale the arms forward and up. Again, it is up to you how wide you bring the arms, whether you let the arms come all the way up, upper arms by your ears or not. Arms can be forward. Feel that uplift at the front of the body. And be aware as you feel that left foot in the floor back there. Feel that openness in the front of your left hip. Good. One more breath. And then we'll lower our arms down. We're going to straighten the front knee out. Now again, if you need to adjust the stance a little bit to get your hip pointers now square to the front of the mat, do. And now, see about not using your hands at first. Thighs are really strongly lifting upward. And maybe you only want to come an inch forward. You don't have to go any farther. If you feel like you can't control it without your hands, don't do it. And it's up to you if you want to keep going. And of course, if you're ready to put your hands down anytime, do it to any height that you want. And that adjustment, once you get your hands down, if you feel like you need to adjust your stance, some do. Whether you fold over that front leg again is totally up to you. Thighs engaging upward still. Good. One more breath. And now come up more parallel to the floor with your body. You might want to put your hands on your blocks again. And now bend that front knee. Remember, we're rising back, hands to the heart for Warrior One. So you got to really use your core strength to get right back up into that Warrior One, bringing your gaze forward. Good. And then we'll unfold our arms. We're going to turn our feet again parallel for that wide-legged forward bend. This time, see if you can come forward, bend your knees and put your elbows above your knees. And let yourself either touch tips of your fingers together or palms if your arms do that, right? So just be easy. Reach back through your tailbone. Lengthen out through the top of your head. Good. And then bring your hands on down. Walk them over towards the right. Don't go any farther than you want. Bring your right hand up to your right hip. See if you can just roll the right shoulder up a little bit. And then come on back down. We're going to walk over towards the left. Again, shift your block just a little bit or go towards the foot. Left hand is going to come up. You can roll the shoulder up if it feels good. And then we'll come on down with the hand and come on back into center. Now, if you can, turn your toes out a little bit. So you've got your legs turned out slightly, and then bend your right knee. Now, if you want, you can pick your left foot up with the left heel staying on the floor and get a little deeper there, or not. You can keep the foot down. And then come back to center, bend the left knee. You can keep the right foot fully on the floor, or maybe keep the heel down but lift the toes up and the ball of the foot up. And then bringing the foot back down, bend both your knees here now. And then come on up, turn the toes forward. Let yourself release to where you can be for a few breaths very comfortably. So you're able to release in your upper body. Nice full breaths. Good. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise on up to standing. And take your time. Walk your feet on in. Take it out a little bit. We're going to come into Warrior 2 this time, so I'm turning my chair around. Have your blocks handy, again, for sure. And we're going to step our right foot back and come into Warrior 2, getting that right foot about parallel to the back edge of our mat. Line up your heels. Take your time. Now, if you can, see if you can look down at that left knee, bend it. See if you can get really lined up comfortably that way. Good. And then rise your arms up into a wide V. Turn your pinkies towards each other. So feel that sense of not lifting the shoulders up, but instead they just naturally drop down when you turn your pinky fingers inward a little bit. Good. And now turn the palms away from each other. They're going to face down as you lower your arms for Warrior 2, looking out over the top of that left hand. Feeling your feet in the floor equally. We're going to turn that left palm up and inhale, reach up towards the sky. Nice full breath into the left side. And on the exhale, we'll come into our side angle, whether it's your left hand or forearm to your chair or your leg. Bringing the right arm up into line if your shoulder lets you, or keeping the hand down on your hip, or even bringing the arm straight up if that's better for you. Finding what your shoulder lets you do. And then we're going to come on back into Warrior 2, pressing those feet away from each other. Now from here, we're going to turn into a lunge. So you got to find what you want to do with your hands, what height you want to be. Bring yourself down, hands to a chair or blocks, and let yourself really get set in that lunge, because we're going to think about, even if we don't do it, we're going to think about lifting up into that Warrior 1 variation, crescent from here. So if you can just bring your left hand to your thigh, or both hands to the thigh, or maybe even lift your shoulders up and bring your hands to your heart. Don't do it if it's too much. Use whatever support you need. Big open for the hip flexor here. And then we'll bring our hands back down. We're in our lunge still. We're going to bring our left hand to our left hip and come into twist here. So drawing yourself into that twist, whether your left hand stays on your low back, or maybe you want to reach the arm straight up from your shoulder. One more breath. And then we'll release to come on back down. We're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us. Let your knees soften. Let your head move around a little bit. You might even kind of let your body sway a little bit side to side. It depends on you and your back. Good. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to rise on up. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Find your mountain pose. A little more energy now, flowing through the body. And then we'll release our arms on down, shake out a little bit, move around. And we are going to go the other side. So left foot's going to step back. Again, you can put your hand on your chair if you need to get balanced. Line your heels up. Look at the alignment of that right knee. Make sure you're really in line here. And then bring in your gaze to when the arms come up into that wide open V. You're just real comfortable, kind of looking to the center here. Let the pinkies turn towards each other. You know, kind of lift your shoulders a second. See how that feels. And then let the shoulders release down. Maybe even go a little wider with the hands. Let yourself feel like your arms are growing out of your back. And then we'll turn the palms away from each other. Lower the arms down, warrior two. Bringing your gaze out over the top of your right hand. Feeling the feet in the floor here. Good. And we'll turn the right palm up. We're going to inhale into that reverse warrior. Breathe into the right side. And on the exhale, come into your side angle. So again, it can be your right hand or your forearm down to your thigh. Adding this left arm up into line or keeping the hand down. So be sure you're comfortable in your shoulder. Don't push it. Good. One more breath. We're going to come on back into warrior two, letting yourself feel the feet in the floor. Now remember, we're going to come down into a lunge. So you want to get what you like underneath your hands as you release that left heel behind you. Now knowing that we're going to try to lift up a little bit, you may even want to shorten your stance. You might even bend the back knee a little bit too. Separate your feet a little wider if you want, and then you can decide if it's even possible to think about bringing yourself up in this lunge here. So don't do it if it's too much. Keep your hand just one. Put your right hand on your thigh and just come up a little bit. Come to where you feel that openness in the front of the left hip. And then we're going to come back down with our hands into our lunge. Remember, we're going to add a twist. So left hand stays where it is. Right hand coming on up to the low back, rolling that shoulder up. If you want to stretch the arm up, do. Not necessary. Keeping the hand down is fine. Finding that levelness in the hips, the twist in the middle of your back. And then we'll come on back down with that right hand. We're going to step forward and get our feet right under us. And again, really release here. Wherever it feels good, right, for you. Support if you need. Elbows above the knees if you need that kind of support. Hands on the blocks, or letting yourself hold your elbows if you want. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise up. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. Let your exhale bring your hands down together in front of your heart. Find your mountain pose here. So adjust as you need. Take your time. Let yourself get really easy, equally grounded through your feet. Remember, you're feeling just a sense of gently pressing the ground away from you a little bit and then growing up out of that. Light in your head. It's like your head is floating in the clouds. Good, and then we'll let our arms release on down and shake it out. Move around a little bit as much as you need. And we are going to bring our mats into a wall. So if you're at home, you just need a little bit of a touch to a wall. It's not a big deal, but let yourself come to a place where it doesn't have to be a wall. It could be a kitchen cabinet or anything else, right? If you have a pole, you need a pole. Let's do left hand towards the wall. And we're going to come into a little tree pose. We're going to stand on our left foot. And at first, just bring your right heel into the inside of your left ankle. Let your toes be on the floor. And then see if you from there, if you can just let your hands come to your heart. And make sure that you're not sitting back into that left hip. There's this lift. We found this openness in the front of our hips here when we did that Warrior One variation there at the end. See if you can feel that uplift. And then you can decide if you want to bring the right foot up all the way into your inner calf or your inner thigh. So take your time. You know, if you're like, I want to try to bring my foot up higher, you can reach down with your hand and kind of lift yourself by the ankle with the foot coming up. You just don't want to push the foot into the inside of your knee. So you want it either below or above your knee. Just enjoying that tree pose, that sense of, even if you have to use the wall, that sense of really being rooted through that foot, drawing up through the crown of your head. And then bring your left hand to the wall, lower your right foot down, and bend your right knee. Put your right foot behind you for a quad stretch. So knees, go ahead, bend your left knee a little bit. Make sure you're not locking it. And if you want to reach to get hold of the top of the foot, you can, if you can do that, right? Pull your heel in towards your buttocks a little bit if you have your foot. And then see if you can start to come forward with your chest. Your knee comes back a little bit. And if you have your foot, press your foot gently into your hand. Now you can hold the wall to do that, or you can release and balance. You can let that left arm come up overhead if you want. And you can even just put the hand on your chest. And then we're going to come on back up, lower that foot down, and we're going to turn around. We're going to come onto the right foot for tree. Now again, see if you can at first put the heel to the inside of your ankle with the toes on the floor. And then bring your hands to your heart if you can, and just enjoy, because it's a stronger base of support with those toes down. Kind of starts to give you that lift through the front of the right hip. Maybe it'll feel good just to float the foot up to your inner calf. If not, don't do it, right? Or if you want to put your hand on the wall and reach down and get your left ankle and pull the foot up higher so the heel comes up even higher, you can. And of course, if you lose your balance, just put your foot down, readjust. Let yourself just find that ease coming into tree pose. And if it's not a good balance day, just keep your hand on the wall. Have fun feeling your foot coming into the inside of your leg and the inside of your leg coming back into your foot. Good. And then we're going to lower the foot down. And now you're going to bend your left knee and bring the heel behind you, the foot behind you. Flex the foot. Bend your right knee a little bit so you're not locking your knee. And of course, if you can get a hold of the top of the left foot, do. And if you have the foot, try to pull the heel in towards your buttocks a little bit. And then let your chest come a little forward and your knee come a little behind you. Press your foot into your hand if you've got your foot. And then again, you can try balancing there. You can bring that right arm off the wall, hand off the wall. You can keep your hand on the wall if you want. Go farther forward with your body and back a little more with your knee. Beautiful. And then come on down. Turn to face the wall. Come to your forearms on the wall. And clasp your hands, send your pinky fingers out. Bring your elbows forward of your shoulders. And now, see how you can press into the outer edge of your hand like you're doing a karate chop, really? You know, really press into the hands. Find a forearm plank here. Elbows hug in. And then see, once you kind of get situated, see if you can inhale your heels up and exhale, let them come back down towards the ground. So staying really strong here in the belly. It's a little movement in the shoulders. Also working into the legs. So inhale, see if you can rise the heels up. Exhale, lower them down. Good. And then, if you can shift your hips back a little bit more, do. Legs can be a little bent or straight. Now, if you come in towards the dolphin at the wall here, that might be enough right there, just a little bit. Some of you might want to slide your forearms down lower, send your hips back again, come into more of like a 90-degree angle at your hips. That is not for everybody's shoulders. If it's okay for yours, go for it. If not, don't. Stay in more that plank. Good, beautiful. Again, still feel you're pressing into those forearms, elbows hugging towards each other. Nice. So one more breath here. And then we're going to slowly come on back in towards the wall. Turn around with your back towards the wall. Rise your right arm out and up and bend your elbow. Now, we're all different here. If you're able to bring your left arm up and over the top and hold your right elbow with your left hand, do it. If not, don't do it. Just find what you can for your tricep for that right arm. Try to keep your gaze forward so you're not hunching forward, rounding in that upper back, right? And then release both arms down for a second. Shake out a little bit. The left arm is going to come up and the elbow is going to bend. Now, you may just want to keep your elbow out. You don't have to do this part of bringing the right arm over. So you be where you can. Let it feel good. Good. And then release. Let yourself come on down. Clasp your hands behind you and let your gaze come up just a little bit. Now try not to tuck your tailbone forward, okay? Try to send the tailbone back a little bit. You have that bit of a natural curve in your low back. Good. And then release to come forward. We are going to come down to our mats and get your strap handy. So coming on down to the floor and letting yourself here sit up on a blanket if you need, because we are going to use the strap for a little bit of forward bending. All right, so if you want to sit up on a blanket or two or a block and a blanket, do. Bring your right foot on out and let's bring our strap across the ball of our right foot. Now what you do with this left leg is totally up to you and your knee, your hip, right? You can bring it in like we were in tree, below the knee or above, right? You can keep it low and support it. So if your knee or your hip is screaming at you, please listen, You can even keep the leg straight. So you've got to just find what's okay for your knees, for your hips. And then feel, as you look at that right foot, feel the right heel come to the floor. Press into the ball of the foot. And look at your foot, because you can tell, looking at that strap, if you're rolling to the pinky toe side of your foot a little bit. I'm exaggerating, right? Or the big toe side of your foot. But try to get as even as you can. And then take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, bend your elbows a little bit. Draw yourself forward with a nice long back. And it might be a little bit, right? Stay here for a breath. Let the back adjust. Now, if you know, well, there's no way I'm going any farther forward than this, you might, when you inhale, want to come back out of the forward bend. And when you exhale, come back into it, right? Or some of you, if you want to go farther forward, take an inhale when you're forward, and then when you exhale, pull yourself just a little more over that leg. So you can do it gradually, giving the leg time to adjust. Using your breath to help you. And when you get to this point where you're going, oh my gosh, I can't, that's too far, come back out of that and stay. So you go to that edge, and then you know that instead of your body fighting you, if you come out of it a little bit, maybe your body can adjust. So take your time. Good. One more breath. And now, if you can, keep your strap there. We're going to come up, and we're going to open the leg out to the side a little bit. Doesn't have to be far. And from here, we're going to come just a little bit forward to get that inner thigh, right? So, you can put your hand there on the floor to give you a little support, your left hand. Let yourself just ease forward a little bit. Find that inner thigh. So we're all different, you know, be really mindful if it's bothering your left knee. You can always stretch that left leg out and then come forward, right? One more breath here. And then we're going to come on back up. We're going to bring that right leg on back forward so we can just switch feet. So bringing that left foot into the strap. And again, take your time to position your right leg. And your left foot is directly forward. This is a pretty strict forward bend here, right? So don't bring it out to the side like we will in a second. Keep it forward and let yourself find comfort for your right knee and hip. Inhale into the length of the spine. Check out your alignment of your foot there on the strap. And then when you come forward, imagine coming forward with that really long back. And you can stay here for a couple of breaths, right? If you feel like your leg's already telling you something, just take your time. Come back out of it if you need to when you inhale. And then just let your breath help you. In other words, those inhales lengthen your spine. And the exhales, you can just imagine coming farther forward. And it might just be more imagining, right? So let yourself stay with your breaths. All the way in, all the way out. Really feel that left heel on the ground, drawing back towards you, so you're keeping activated as you're stretching. One more breath. And now remember, easily bring yourself up. We're going to open this leg out a little to the side so you can let yourself kind of help with the strap there. And again, heels on the floor, drawing back towards you. You're going to feel your inner thigh, probably even before you come forward, right? You can feel your inner thigh. So take your time. You can use your hand on the floor. Let yourself go as far forward as feels good to stretch out that inner thigh a little bit more. Good. Remember, be mindful of your right leg. If your knee bothers you, stretch it out long if you need to. Good. One more breath. And now, just be gentle as you come on up. We can take that strap on off your foot, stretch your legs on out, and be mindful. Move around a little bit, circle your feet and your ankles around a little bit, right? And you might even want to roll, let your knees bend and roll a little bit from side to side, which kind of massages the outer hips here. You can just support yourself as you just easily just roll a little bit through from side to side. Good. And we are going to make our way onto our backs on the floor from here. So take your time, let yourself release, bring your feet to the floor. Let your knees bend so your back releases. And see if you can, once you kind of get your feet set, do a couple little pelvic tilts. Let yourself, as you exhale, curl your tailbone up. Feel the low back coming into the floor. And when you inhale, the tailbone drops down again. The low back comes into its natural curve. But take your time. Good. So one more little pelvic tilt there. Let the back release. And then come on back to neutral and bring your right knee in towards your chest and extend your left leg down long on the floor. Flex through both your feet. Let yourself feel that low back still finding its natural curve there, so you're not feeling the back pressing down into the floor. And we're going to do a little bit of a pigeon, a reclined pigeon here. Let your right hand draw your right knee more to the right, and if you can, your left hand can reach down and get your right foot. Now, if you can't do that, just put your left hand on top of your shin a little bit and kind of hug your lower leg in towards you. So you're flexing through both feet, and you can let yourself just go a little bit. It doesn't have to be a big, huge movement. Pay attention to your own hip. And just enjoy letting the hip release there and the back. Good. And then bring the right knee on back. Let the right foot just come on down and flex both the feet. And we're going to bring our left knee in. Let your knees come a little side to side before you stretch your right leg long. And then when you're ready, keep the left knee in, extend your right leg long, flex through both your feet. Again, feel the left leg gently coming back into your hands so that your back comes into a more natural alignment here. And then, remember, left hand draws the knee to the left and up towards your shoulder a little bit. If you can reach down and get your foot, do. But if not, put your hand kind of on top of your shin, your right hand. Or go around the bottom of your foot and hold the outside edge of that foot and hug that lower leg in towards you. Again, being really mindful of your knees and your hips. Good. One more breath. And then let yourself come on back to center with the knee. And bring both knees on in towards the chest. And see if you can circle the knees in the same direction. So you can hold on, right hand on your right knee, left on your left. Or not hold it all if you don't want to. And let the knees go in one direction. Inhaling as the knees come away, exhaling when they come back in towards you. And then we're going to go the other direction, so you stop where you want and start circling the other way again. Inhaling when the knees come away, the arms come kind of straight if you're holding the knees. Exhaling when the knees come back in towards you. Really letting that back get a nice release there. Good. And then bring your feet onto the floor. And we're going to stretch our left leg long. Keep your right foot to the inside of your leg somewhere and stretch your arms out beside you into a T position. And now, just shift your weight to your left hip and let your right foot rest on the inside of your left leg as you twist a little bit. It doesn't have to be a deep twist. The foot can be up by the thigh. It can be kind of in the inside of the knee. Let yourself just release with that right knee coming over towards the left, down towards the floor. Good. And then release back to center, and we're going to bring the left foot to the floor, extend your right leg down long. So again, as you shift to your right side here, and you let the knee come over and down towards the ground, you're resting your foot, if you can, on the inside of your right leg. Obviously, if that doesn't feel good, do what you need. You can put the foot over onto the floor if you'd rather. It's just a different feeling to a twist to keep your foot on the inside of your leg like that. Good. So one more breath. let yourself come on back into center and do exactly what your body wants to do right now. If your knees feel like, oh, we want to come in, or if you feel like you want to bring your feet to the floor, perhaps do a bridge pose, do another little twist if you need, any sort of back release. I mean, you can curl up into a little ball if you want to. You know, just, it can be any kind of movement, any pose or movement that feels good to you. So take your time. I'm going to start to dim the lights here at the studio, so just know that I'm going to be coming around here. But you take your time and do whatever movement or pose feels good to you. And remember, we're all different. After a yoga class, well, anytime of course, but you know, poses feel different to all of us, and we feel differently after whatever order we've done the poses in. So be really mindful of what you feel like your own body needs. You know, I have all these bolsters here at the studio and blankets. I'll start to walk around. I have an inkling about some of you, so take your time. Wave at me. If you feel like a bolster underneath your knees would feel good. Remember, you have the wall there. If you like to lie with your legs up the wall, take your time to get easy in the way you're lying. And then let your arms come to a comfortable place for your shoulders. So, you know, maybe you need to let your arms come out a little further, or turn your palms up, or put your hands on your belly. There's no right or wrong. Just enjoy now watching and being with your own breaths. Accepting your breaths in and out. When your mind wanders off, just softly bring your awareness back to that gentle wave of your breath, in and out. Whatever helps you do that. And give yourself these few minutes, allowing your body and your brain to benefit however they need from all you just did. Allowing yourself to completely and fully relax